I actually didn't even start composting until I was like 27. And I moved in with a new roommate who I didn't know off of Craigslist. And, he was just like, oh, we compost here. I was like, oh, okay. And it became that habitual to me. It was that easy of a change. Somebody just said to me, we compost here. And it became part of my life. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I wanted to continue that part of my life. I wanted to continue composting. And there was limited resources in Los Angeles. And I was sitting around being like, these cliches that come up, be the change you want to see in the world. If not you, when? And I was like, no, but really, if not me, when? If not now, like with this kind of nebulous place I'm at in my life, who's gonna do it? And so I took some classes at UCLA, Sustainability Extension. I talked to other people who were doing composting in this space. I got the support I needed and I launched the company purely out of the fact that I wanted to continue a habit that was important to me.
I started at Compostable as a residential driver doing the pickup drop-offs. Coming from the film industry, I realized there's so much valuable resources that are just going to the landfill that we could recover. So I spoke to Mo, I was like, let's get in there and change that space. The way I see it at these events and productions, it's the residential, it's the residences of the city. This is like their primary place of employment. So we're getting all of those people in one space that is generating all of these valuable resources that we can divert away from landfill and put it back into the cycle, which primarily compost. So the moment that I knew that I wanted to work in community composting was I was sitting on a movie set. I'm done with my lunch, it's lunchtime, and I'm just staring at the plate of food that I probably put way too much food on, and I just can't consume anymore, right? And then I realized there's just one trash bin. There's nowhere to put this resource that could go into the ground and feed our soil. And I thought to myself, this is 1 times 300 in one day. Multiply that by how many movie sets are filming right here, right now. How many film screenings, how many parties, weddings, etc. And I thought, I have to change this space.
Composting, for me, is the most accessible thing you can do for climate change. There's a lot of really powerful things that will help move the needle with climate change, but composting is accessible to every single human, every single corporation on this planet. And it's so powerful. There's 2 kind of umbrella categories of this power. There's this landfill diversion, which I think most people understand more intrinsically. This in landfills, organics create methane. Methane is 80 times worse than carbon dioxide in the first 20 years of its life. So when we are bopping around with this 2050 number as the time where we really need to reduce our carbon emissions, methane as a greenhouse gas really plays an important role because it's so potent. So that's the importance of getting organics out of landfills. But then there's this second thing, this second umbrella category that's like a 20-for-1 deal, and that's the creation of this soil amendment. Compost is a probiotic for our soil. It heals sick soils. And when you heal sick soils, you get better water retention, you have stormwater filter, you have healthier plants, which means healthier humans, you have carbon sequestration, you have food sovereignty. So it becomes this almost like this crazy network of benefits that happen when you start composting, that landfill diversion, that precious resource that is limited space, and that soil amendment creation.
The process at Compostable literally starts with you, right? The individual, the party, the event, the office. We collect all your food scraps. It goes back to our facility, sort out the contaminants, and then that goes to the farm. And then from the farm, they compost, right? And then they grow vegetables that feed off of that compost. And then it goes back to you, where you eat that vegetable, then you have an apple core or a banana peel, and it goes back all around over and over again. The benefits of vegetables that are grown with compost, they're just a lot more nutritious. They have more flavor. Your yields are more abundant. It's honestly endless. And then when you're talking about all the other benefits that are combating climate change, compost is like a sponge in the soil. It holds water. It filters out pollutants from rainwater. It's trapping CO2. I could keep going forever. I'm not the scientist though. What's so wild is we've considered all of our scraps as just waste, and we throw it out of sight, out of mind. And then it's going to landfill, which we all know is causing a lot of havoc to our environment, right? But instead of that, we can make a positive to our environment and also have nutritious food.
People often think, oh my God, it's gonna smell, there's gonna be pests, I don't know if my partner wants to do it, I don't know where the resources are. And all of those can be true in certain situations, but they don't have to be true. So if you're composting at home, compost shouldn't smell. It should smell like the forest floor if you're doing it right. If you're just collecting your food scraps in a bucket and not actually doing the process of composting at home, but maybe giving it to someone else to do the process of composting, maybe you store it in a way, maybe you put it in your fridge or freezer, or you use something like a carbon cap on it, and seal the bin up so there's less odor there, pests can get to it less. So I think there's different ways to make composting a more enjoyable experience. I've been composting for years. I don't have any pests in my house, and it's just about the way I'm storing the food scraps before they're ready to be composted. And I think this lack of resources, I don't know how to do it, I don't know how to get started. There are so many resources across the United States, actually across the globe, of people starting to compost at home with services like mine, maybe in their green bins, their city adds them. And so once they start talking about it, someone's like, oh yeah, I know a resource, I can help you start, I can do this. And you realize you're not alone in this process. There are people out there that are just as passionate as I am that want to help you get started. If you're a person who eats food, if you wear clothes, that's all coming from our soils. So if you want to care for those soils, if you want to continue consuming healthy food, one great way to do that is to start composting.
For me, composting is a very easy way back to humanity from where we've gotten ourselves today without it. We've built so much without being close to nature or being outside. We're inside most of the day now, but if there's anything we could do just to be a little closer, I would say just try to compost wherever you live.
So there's about 800 to 900 pounds of compost here that all came from LA residents. And we are with Marty, and we're gonna make a pile, man. Let's do this. Ooh, bananas.
Looks good.
Yeah. Banana bread.
It actually smells kind of good.
Yeah, it does kind of smell good.
Why I decided to have this garden, which I call a farm, is because I wanted to contribute to nature. And I wanted to contribute to more than just that, because I feel like we've kind of lost our touch with the land and we've lost our touch with nature. And doing this, to me, feels like I'm doing something for the world.
Beauty. Dude, that's some beautiful chip.
Yeah. You got worms in there already, ready to...
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oop.
Yeah, leaves. This is all carbon. We got leaves, we got sticks, we got mulch. Gorgeous. So carbons are anything that is tree-based. So mulch obviously is tree-based. Sticks, oh, look at a clamshell. Toothpicks are usually in here. Chopsticks, leaves.
Composting is essential to having your own food, to kind of know the full life cycle. Food grows, it drops into the ground, it turns into dirt. We're not doing that today on a mass scale. What happens to most people with food? They throw it either in the trash. Most of the time it goes in the trash. Some cities like LA, they have composting bins now. But I think it's essential to actually like see it and know the process and get used to it, because I feel like we should all be doing this just naturally. It shouldn't be something that we have to learn or be forced to do. It should be something just known as things go back into the ground. We've gone so far from life with all these things that exist in the world, right? We have TV, we have games, but we're missing the base thing, which is plant grows, it gets consumed by us and we digest it, or it goes into the ground, it gets digested by the bugs in the ground.
This is an event. Oh, it's nice and light though.
It is nice and light. Oh, a lot of plates.
Yeah, this is a good carbon layer though. This is a pile. How old is this pile, Marty?
This is kind of a combination of 2 older piles. I actually just flipped it recently, so it's a little fresh on top.
It's hot.
It's 170 degrees.
Ooh, it's too hot.
Yeah.
Ideally, when you're doing hot composting, like in a windrow or a bay system, you want it to be 131 is perfect, but no one gets that perfect temperature. It's usually between 125 and 140. And the reason you want it to get hot is because it kills pathogens, it kills persistent weeds. The reason you don't want it to get too hot is because it will sterilize your compost. It's getting hot because of microbial activity. They're eating all the food waste, they're acting, so it doesn't matter if this was in the sun or the shade, it's still gonna get that hot. And if I open this pile up a little bit, you should see some steam rising out. If you come close, you can see some steam rising out from how hot it is. This is pure microbial activity breaking down your food scraps. So once this goes to this, and at the end, it will look like this. Look at how rich, it's so deep in color. It smells like the forest floor. It's gorgeous.
The main reason I wanted to have a farm was control over what I ate. Knowing how it grew, where it came from, what was on it, and I think all those things contribute to really good tasting food.
Here, you take one, I'll take one.
Sounds good. We just put these in the ground, but they could use a little more help.
A little more to get them off to a good start.
Yeah.
Tomatoes are hungry little babies.
For anyone that is deciding to grow their own food, have a garden or have a farm, there's a ton of work that's involved. You have to do a lot of research, reading, learn about soil, plants, nutrients, sun requirements. There's so much to it. It gets easier, and that's the best thing about it is you start to learn, you remember, and it becomes more or less life, and it becomes normal. And the payoff on that is honestly, for me, enough. For most people, it's eating delicious stuff. I'd also say a huge benefit is not upfront savings, because it does take some upfront costs to get all this stuff. There's seeds involved, or you could just go out and buy the plant. Eventually, that will go down, and it will cost you less in the long term. And that all depends on how you do it. The gardening community is really big, and the more people that you meet, the more willing they are to help you out, and people give each other plants, they give each other seeds. And there's a whole world out there of people just wanting to help each other, and with that, you can save money and time. Some people have a misconception that you need tons of land, acres, right, to grow all this food, where if you really think about it, you don't need all that much. Most people can survive off of, not survive, but they can grow mostly what they need from an 8-foot by 4-foot raised bed. Tons of things, right? Greens, fruits, vegetables, at least something that complements what they buy at the store. This lot right here is about 1/5 of an acre, and I can grow plenty on it. The sky's the limit almost with this lot. I mean, it's not huge, but I have 60 fruit trees. And it sounds kind of crazy, but that is available on such small land. I think it's important to be in the city. I think these things need to be in the city because we don't need to go out there to go get that. We can be right here, right in the middle, to have exactly what we need.